Section 8 clients, do you get like a list of people?
My name is Aline, and I just recently...
Okay.
So think about your workflow. Again,
I don't know how to do it.
I know how to do it, and I'm trying to instruct other people to do better in their business, but I also have to do better in my business. Hey, everyone out there in YouTube land and Facebook, and we have it new at the moment with Instagram. So I want to say welcome. Give me 1 second here so I can try to get that audio back. Okay, so anyways, what we're gonna do here is I have a wonderful, wonderful guest on here with me. His name is Michael Mannino, and hopefully I pronounced that right. So I'm gonna introduce him while I bring him on. I'm getting this feedback from Instagram. Give me 1 second here. There we go. All right. So, anyways, sorry about that, everyone. I'm gonna bring him on here. Mike Mannino, he is a wonderful gentleman that he has been doing, single family flips. He's a contractor, and most recently, he's been flipping, apartment buildings. And I'm in my opinion, I'm interested in that. So I know you guys here are interested in that as well. And so without further ado, Mike, how are you doing today?
Hi, Randy. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. So I just kind of wanted to, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and, bringing your experience and kind of talking about the stuff that you do. And I just want to ask, how did you get started in real estate?
That's a great question. It was a long process. I didn't jump into it real quick. I bought my first house at 23.
Okay.
I think I bought it for $50,000, and then I fixed it up and then built my second house, and I sold it for I think 100. So I made close to 40,000 after what I put into it. So that kind of got me the bug. And then I started building houses, and that's basically a big flip. It's turning a piece of dirt into some place to live for people. And then I started to
Oh, looks like we lost him for a minute. All right. While we wait for him to come back, give me 1 second here. Sorry about that, everyone.
Did I lose you there?
Yeah, you did. So
I apologize profusely.
All right. So you were saying you got started.
And I bought my first house when I was 23, and then I built my second house, and I made about 50,000 on my first house, and I go, this is kind of cool. So when I started building houses, I had a builder's license. I started building. That's kind of a quick flip. It's not a quick flip; it's a long-term flip. Anywhere from 3 months to a year to build a house and then sell and make money. But then 08 happened, and I had a bunch of contractors. Here's how I got into flipping. I had a bunch of contractors, a couple of good guys that were, that were working with me for years. And I didn't want to lose them. You don't want to lose good guys, right?
No, no.
And so a good friend of mine who's a real estate agent said, hey, there's a house for sale right down the road in Oxford, Michigan for $14,500.
Okay.
Let's grab it, put my guys in there and, have them do something for a little bit, make a little bit of money. And then I was planning on renting it out for a few years and then selling it for more money later, right? And then that house got done, and no joke, you guys can check this out. I bought a house on Center Street in Oxford, 26 Center, and then right across the street, I wasn't able to do it, but we were buying houses on at the Oakland County sale.
Okay.
And I sent my wife, and I said, just find a cheap house. She goes, there's one in Oxford directly across the street from the house that we have. And I'm like, no. And she's like, yeah. And I'm on the phone with her. I said, how much? She goes, $14,500. I bought two houses on Center Street in Oxford for $14,500. And I fixed them up, rented them out for a little while. Just, the rent. I was just anticipating the rent to pay the bills, but I started making money. Then I bought another house, and I bought another house, and I bought another house, and I kept my guys busy. I just wanted to keep my guys busy. And then what really happened was it just started going and going and going. And then my son started to, get older, and he's working at McDonald's. He says, I don't want to work at McDonald's anymore. I want to quit. And I said, well, where are you going to work? How are you going to pay your bills? I made my kids, I didn't make my kids. I gave my kids everything they needed, and anything they wanted, I had them work for. So they would, if they wanted a car, okay, how are you going to get your car? You want a cell phone? How are you going to pay for the cell phone? You know what I mean? And then they'd look online and say, well, if I get on your plan, it'd be another $10 a month. Okay, how are you going to pay for it? Well, I'm cutting the lawn for $25 a month. I'm doing it 4 times a month. So I'm making $100. I'm like, all right, cool. We're good to go. So my son quit McDonald's one time, and I go, where are you going to work? How are you going to pay your bills? He didn't have any bills. I was just like trying to go. Yeah. And he goes, I don't know. You'll find me a house to flip. I'm like, all right. 2 weeks later, I find 1333 Cardigan Street in Oxford, Michigan. I'm like, go ahead. And he hopped in there, and that particular experience was that he hired a bunch of his friends to help him, and they all fell down. They all didn't want to work. They all didn't want to do the work. And he started doing the work. He started loving it, and he saw how much I made on the property, and he's like, I want to flip houses.
Right.
I'm like, all right. So how we were buying houses at the time were tax sales or real estate, real estate professionals that were friends of ours. Mm-hmm. And then we found another house, and then we went to 7-figure flipping, and we turned it into a business. Basically, we started getting. We learned how to get.
Oh, it looks like we lost him again. I think his internet connection is little lacking here.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
We started getting the capital together, and we started getting crews together. Now we're flipping around 20 to 30 houses a year in Michigan.
Oh, that's awesome. So you started with 7-figure flipping. You said you went to 7-figure flipping. Did you join 7-figure flipping?
Pardon?
Did you join 7-figure flipping? Oh, it looks like it's lagging. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, I can now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, did you join 7-figure flipping?
We did, and that got us to the 30 houses a year. So we're doing anywhere from 20 to 30 houses a year now. We made it a business, and then the stuff we learned from that particular coaching group taught us when we were doing a multifamily. We had a wholesaler come up to us and say, "Hey, listen, we got a 8-unit in Burton." I'm like, all right, let's grab this one. There wasn't much to do on that one, so we just fixed it up a little bit, and then we sold that one. We got one in Flushing that we still have, and that one was a train wreck.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a train wreck? We walked in, and the guy just didn't take care of it. It was 11 units, and we were going to buy it for like $375,000. And I think we got ripped off on it. The handles, I'm not joking, the handles for the showers were vice grips on some of the units. They locked down the vice grips on it and would turn the shower on and on in the shower. So the vice grips were rusted, the place was trashed, and we literally had to go through there and do everything.
Yeah.
Everything in the unit. So we put in new floors, cabinets, countertops, bathroom vanities, new tubs, new surrounds, new flooring, new doors, casing, and base, and painted the entire place. Like everything. We put like 12 grand into each unit. The only thing we didn't have to touch was the boiler system. We did new roofs, we fixed all the windows. It was everything. But now we have a unit, you know, they weren't paying. We got that one during COVID. They weren't even paying. They weren't paying anything. 2 out of the 11 were paying, and they were paying $600.
Holy crap.
So now we're up and running, and it's and we're making $1,000 a month per unit.
Okay. So you're making, you know, roughly about, you know, a little bit over $100,000 a month in net, of course.
10,000 a month.
Oh, 10,000.
And then 100,000, around 100,000. Now we're doing about $30,000-$40,000 on that property.
Okay.
So, and then we're going to sell it too. So, you know, I think you're talking about, you know, fixing up and selling. That's kind of what we're doing right now. We got one in Redford. We got a 17 unit. We're doing the exact same thing too.
So how do you go about estimating, like valuing these multifamily properties? Because there's a lot of confusion, and there's a lot of, you know, everyone does it differently on how they estimate, you know, what to pay for these multifamily units, because you can't do it like a traditional home and comp it, you know, like, oh yeah, there's one right down the street that sold for 17 million, you know, that's going to be worth that after it's done, you know. So, you know, how do you go about actually running the numbers on these units?
That's a great question. It's just like you said, an actual evaluation of a multifamily is a lot different than a single family house. Single family house, like you said, there's comps, right?
Yep.
That's in the equation, but that's not really part of the equation. It's really hard to explain. But let me try and give you a quick 5-minute explanation of a math equation that's forever. Let's say you have a property, and then how much it's making is called the NOI. So how much if it's bringing in 100,000 a year, and then typically your expenses are around 50,000 a year, so you're making 50,000 a year. That's the NOI. The NOI divided by the cap rate is what you should pay for the property, and the cap rate's anywhere from 4 to 7%.
What is NOI?
Pardon?
What is
net operating income? Net operating income. Okay, so that's how much it makes past expenses. Okay. So your total cash flow, basically, what you're getting out, not total cash flow, your total profit from the property. And then you divide it by the cap rate of the area. So those are your comps. What are selling for? What is that property selling for cap rate? So it is part of the equation, but it's really not part of the equation. It's very difficult to understand. But so you asked a great question. How do you value a property? I value the same way a bank does. You know, if a bank's going to give me money on it, I'm going to evaluate the way they do it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So the NOI is the net operating income, net, how much you're making off the property, divided by the cap rate, you know, 0.04 to 0.07 or 10. You can even go up to 10%. 0.10 is 10%. That's what the value of the property is worth, minus the CapEx expense. So CapEx expense is kind of like your rehab expense when it comes to a single family. So I'm going to try and relate, you know, single family to multifamily. So the property that we bought, it was we got it for a steal. We got it for a steal, but he was losing money on it.
Okay.
2 out of 11 people are paying, and your taxes are, you know, 10,000 a year. You're losing money. You're paying money to own that property. So we solved this problem by taking it over. We bought it, and we bought that one. We had him in the deal a little bit too. So I think we paid $375. We gave him $100, and he carried the note for a year for $250, and we paid him interest during the time frame. Right, we came with us, I think it was 6% interest. So we paid him interest on it. So it's kind of a seller. We call it a seller finance deal.
Oh yeah.
So we gave him 100, and we put 150 into it, and then we refinanced it and paid him back, paid everybody back, and now we're just collecting money. And the cost segregation on it. Here's another cool, crazy story on that too. Cost segregation is just basically another math equation on the property of anything that is in the property that is depreciated. Do you ever do a cost segregation?
Never done it. I don't own properties. I just wholesale at the moment, but I've heard of people doing a cost segregation. So, but I don't know exactly what entails in that.
Would you like to talk about it, or you want to talk about something?
Let's talk about it.
This is why I love
what's a cost segregation?
Great segment. Oh, I love this. I can talk about real estate forever. I love real estate. That's every time I should have said I started this podcast with I love real estate. Here's why I love real estate. Cost segregation. We bought the property, and then now it's a new evaluation. Now the new evaluation, let's just say it's $1 million. Okay.
Right.
So $1 million, there's the property itself, the land it sits on, and everything that the property owns, all 11 units. So all 11 units are going to lose the value on certain things. Countertops, cabinets, and we put all the new stuff in. Countertop cabinets, the windows, the roof, we put a new roof on there. So all that loses value. So you depreciate the property of, not the land, but, the roofs, the brick on the house, you don't do it, but the inside, like, the countertops and faucets, sinks and all that. So let's say it's $1 million. You get we cost seg around, I think on that one, $129,000. So we turn the papers in to our accountant, and our accountant, you cost seg that much money for 27 years. But for the last few years, you're really able to take 100% depreciation in year one. Now, last year was 80%. This year is 60%. So you can only take 60% of the 129,000. Okay. So me and my partner split the first 60,000 we make that year. I think it was 79,000. We split between us three partners, and the first $25,000 that we made that year, we didn't pay taxes on.
So you made, say, your third of that. You said 120,000.
Yep.
Okay. So you made, basically, you got $40,000 of income tax free that you made.
Yes. Yes.
So instead of having to pay Uncle Sam on $40,000 worth of taxes, you got that because of the cost segregation. And that's just for that one property. Imagine you have multiple, and I'm sure you guys do. Now you can add on top of that. That is how I'm not political, and I'm not saying I'm political, but that is exactly how Donald Trump didn't pay any taxes. So right there.
So it's I understand it now, and I don't want to say I don't pay taxes, but so you're self-employed, right?
I still have my day job at the moment, but my business is self-employed, correct?
Okay. So self-employed people have to put away their taxes.
Yeah.
I put away my taxes for last year, a huge amount. Huge amount. I got 90% of it back because of 2 cost segregations that we did.
Wow. That right there, that's awesome. And that's why people should be getting into real estate, not only for the cash flow, but also for the depreciation as well. I actually had a friend of mine come to me about a rental property that he had, and he was really worried because it was a brand new build. He got a really good rate on it when rates were really low, And then all of a sudden he gets hit with this huge tax bill because, well, tax got reassessed at, I think it was like a year and a half or 2 years later. And interest rates were up now and so on and so forth. And he's like, is this worth it to even keep? So I'm like, well, let's run the numbers. So I went through my little deal calculator. And by the way, if you need a deal calculator, I do have one on my website. If you put on the coupon code newsletter, you get it for free. So with that being said, we ran through the numbers. I looked at it and I said, okay, based on this, you're losing $100 a month. Okay.
Ooh,
I said, you're losing $100 a month based on this right here, right now. Now, they're like, oh, should you go sell this right now? He's thinking, yes. Oh my God, I can't be losing $100 a month. I said, I want you to hold on for a minute. I said, how much did you buy the property for? He's like, 440,000. Like, he gave me the number. And so I did the math. I said, for every year, you can write off almost 15 grand worth of taxes. Is that worth $100 a month?
Yeah. Okay, that's one. Okay, that's one.
That's one property. Right? Yeah,
that's one aspect of that property.
Yes.
That's one aspect of that property.
The other aspect is I told them, guess what? Next year, raise the rent by $100.
That
right there.
How many units?
Now you're breaking even and you're still getting the tax depreciation. Whoa, guess what? The next year, rents might go up after that. You know, raise them up. Hey, you want to give them a break? Only do it $50. You know, depends on where the economy is. And depends
How
on
many units?
Huh?
How many units is it?
It was just one single family house. It's like a 4-bedroom house. So
there's three ways to make money. There's 3 ways to make money on a property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's cash flow, right?
Yep.
Where it's negative right now. It'll be positive. It will be positive next year.
Yep.
Right. Yep. He's also, the tenants are paying down the mortgage.
The debt. Yep.
Right. So they're paying down the mortgage. Right.
Yep.
But it's 2 different ways, right? You're not going to cost seg that. If you got a multifamily, you want to cost seg at that, you probably don't want to cost it. You could, but
right.
Especially pay $400,000 for it, you could do it. And then is the house going to, typically, in 5 years from now, the house will be worth more or less?
It's going to be worth more.
So there's 3 ways to make money. Now, if you're in a multifamily, there's 4 ways to make money. There's actually 5 ways to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You can, on top of the 3 ways of standard SFAR, single family residence, on top of that, you can do a cost seg. You generally want to do a cost seg if it's over, $600,000 is typically a good number, because the cost seg study is around $3 grand. And I have a perfect guy. That's a funny story. I was looking around for a cost seg guy. And one of my brokers out in Michigan goes, "Yeah, I got this guy Terry Judd." And I looked at him and I go, "Terry Judd, huh? I went to high school with a knucklehead named Terry Judd." And he goes, "I don't know. Call him up." I called him up and I'm like, "Did you go to Henry Ford II?" He goes, "Yeah." "Dude, it's Mike Mannino." He goes, "Oh, dude, what the hell's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm in the crazy real estate business too now." And he goes, "Oh, we haven't talked for 40 years and now we're doing business together." And he did 2 of our cost segs. But also in multifamily, here's another way to make money. This is these are unbelievable reasons to join real estate. I love real estate. I absolutely love real estate. Let me give you the best one. We found this property in North Carolina. The guy was putting a roof on it. I said, "Hey, you want to sell?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Give me a number." He gives me the number, 16 units, and we bought it for $850,000. Yeah, so good deal, around $58,000 a door, right? And he was charging $600 a door.
Okay.
So that, do you know what the 1% rule is? The 1% rule is just basically for the people in there, the people that don't know. If you have rents that are $600 and you're buying the units for $60,000 a door, that's 1% per month of the actual cost of the property. That's great. It's a good deal. And depending on interest rates, you might want to go 1.25 right now because interest rates are 6-7%. But that's a good deal. They call it the 1% rule. Well, we got this one.
Let me just interrupt real quick. That's okay for most areas. But when you get into, speaking of Detroit specific, big different numbers. Okay. So I'll let you continue. I just wanted to emphasize that because we're in the Detroit market and people's going to think about that inside Detroit proper, and you can't do that. So
no. You got to get more. And you're going to have more problems with a Detroit property, but you're not going to make 10%. You're going to make 15, 20%. You're supposed to make 15, 20% of the money if you're putting it into Detroit. But that rule of thumb is just generally for outside of Detroit area. And here's one of the greatest things about real estate. We fixed up units. People started leaving. We started fixing them up. We put 7 air conditioning units in because in the South, the AC is like the heat up north. You got to have a furnace. You don't have to have an AC. You got to have an AC in the South. You don't have to have a furnace. But the AC furnace units around $7,000. We put about 5 or 6 of them in there. We fixed the blacktop. We fixed all the units that people were moving out of. And then we started raising the rents to $1,000 a door. Right. So now he was getting 6 times 16 is $90,000 a year, and we're making $160 average. That's not the total, but that's how much difference we charge versus what he charged.
Right.
Now we started fixing them up. We raised the rents. We're going to the bank for a refinance now, and then we estimated out, with that NOI. Divided by the cap rate is how much the property's worth. Our NOI went big time, right? We went about 40% more in NOI. So the property is not worth the $900,000. We thought it'd be 1.6. We were wrong. The bank evaluated at 1.72. So we're going to pull out $1 million. We don't want to take a lot. So if we take $1 million out, we pay off the $600,000 loan because we had to put some money down. That $400,000 that we're going to split between us 3? Guess what? That's non-taxable because it's debt.
Yes.
So another reason why I love real estate.
100%. Now,
so we're going to make a big chunk of change and not pay taxes on it.
That is awesome. Now, one thing you said is the cap rate. How are you figuring out the cap rate for that area? Is it just based on what other apartment buildings are selling for?
So yes, great question. A cap rate is generally determined by the sales of properties in the area. How you find that number is I have a Lexi account, and Lexi account I can put in to the area and then find the demographics of the area, and then I can find out what the cap rates are selling for in that area. And then I can look what sold and then what the cap rates were for that particular sale. And so you average it out for, the size unit, the small 30 units, to the 100 units. Right. So it all depends on, the comps for that area, what they're selling for and their cap rates. But an easy way is there's always brokers in multifamily. There's the Marcus and Millichap, there's CBRE, there's all these brokers for multifamily, and you can always call them up and say, hey, I'm in your area, I'm looking for the property. What's an average cap rate around there? Okay. And then if you go to a mortgage, the mortgage company will know what the cap rate is because there's a software called CoStar, and they have access to CoStar that really gives a real defined cap rate for the area.
Okay. Yeah, so somebody told me before that how they figure out the cap rate, at least the current cap rate, would be what the current cash flow is, or not cash flow, sorry, what the current profits are, basically the return on investment, the ROI. So cash on cash return, I guess you can call it. you know, so you take your net, whatever they're getting after expenses and everything, and then you divide it by, say, the total purchase price that they're asking for, you know.
Right. Right.
Or you go backwards if you're trying to find the cap rate, you know, so on and so forth.
Right.
So
Right.
if you got the cap rate and you're trying to figure out the purchase price
Through the cap rate. So a neat way, you just add it up on a calculator, but it's just basically if you're getting if you're making $10,000,
Mhm.
10,000 NOI. So the NOI I was talking about, the net operating income. So the past all expenses except mortgage.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Not including the mortgage. Let's say it's $10,000 and your cap rate is 10%. You got to buy the place for $100,000.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You times that by 10, and that's your cap rate. Now, if it's 7, you know, if it's cap rate 7, you got to get it for 70.
Okay. So, and yeah, like I've had some multifamily people come to me and they're like, yeah, you know, this is a 6 cap rate, and I go, but mortgages are at 7 and 8%. I'm going to lose money as soon as I mortgage that property.
Okay, great, perfect. So, I'd love to explain that for your
100%, because I'm interested myself. So,
okay, that is what we call in the industry a negative interest rate. So you'd be paying your cap rate wouldn't make your cap rate's 4, 5, 6%, and you're going to be paying 6.5%, 7% for the mortgage, right?
mm-hmm.
So it's a loss, right? That's inverted. So that's the interest rate is not above the cap rate. Or the interest rate is not below the cap rate. I said that wrong. So that's generally a sign of a recession. Okay. So in our industry, last year, people were throwing money at apartment complexes in ways you can't imagine. I mean, we were putting a bid in, and they go, hey, how'd the bid go? And they're like, oh, we got well over, and they're going hard on their money. I'm like, going hard on their money? He goes, yeah. I go, are you serious? He's like, yeah, going hard on your money. Now, let's talk about a $1 million asset, right?
Yeah. Real
quick, let's say
before you go on, I just want to, anybody who's watching, if you have any questions throughout this entire process, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. So I at least want to let you guys know that. Put them in the chat. We'll answer them as we go. If you're interested, you know, if you have any questions on anything that we're talking about, I'll bring them up right on the screen. We'll answer them as well. So I'll let you continue. I just want to bring that up in a minute.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I just love teaching. Been a teacher for many years. They were going hard on their money, which is insane to me. So I just said, fine, don't take the offer. So we put an offer in a property. Somebody else puts an offer, say a $3 million property, they put it for 3.2, right? They really want the property. So going hard means, you know, the earnest money deposit on a single family house.
Yep.
The second you put that down, and it's $2,000 to $5,000 on a house, right?
Yep.
An apartment complex is generally $50,000.
Okay.
Right. They're putting the money down and saying, if we don't buy that property, you keep the $50,000. That's how crazy it was going last year. So people were buying and selling, and I was looking at the numbers, and I know they were going to lose money.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to lose money. I just felt bad for them. I'm like, sorry you bought it for that, because I was stretching to get my offer in.
Yeah.
We're getting outbid and hard money. And then now this year, there's been a 70% decrease in transactions from last year. I'm sorry, from last year was, now we're in 2024. Last year was a 70% decrease from 2022. Because of people that are smart know that you're going to pay more. You're going to be paying a month. Yep. Every month you got to pay money. And your friend was paying $100 on a multifamily, you're paying $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what's going to end up happening is the people are going to end up losing it, and they're going to have to sell it. And then that's what I've been waiting for the last actually 2 years. I went through 2008, and that's where I made the most money I've ever made in my life, 9, 10, 11.
Wow.
So I bought real estate for the depreciated rate that they actually were at the time. So that's coming again, and I am just so excited about it. I'm trying to get all my family and friends, anybody that wants to invest on this adventure, because I can tell that's going to be relatively soon. It's going to be really, really nicer and easier to buy a multifamily, and you can make more money. And the one thing I do want to tell that everybody that's out there, the government does give you certain tax advantage to be a real estate investor. We don't pay a lot of taxes personally, but with my properties, I average it out. We're paying around $40,000 with my current properties right now per year in taxes. So we pay a lot of taxes, but we don't pay personal taxes. That's why the government gives us such a deep break on it.
Got it. Yeah. So you're still paying the taxes that bring up the areas and bring up the, but your personal taxes are a little bit different. So we have to account for those property taxes in that area, and we account for that in our numbers. Is there I know on single family, like I can go to Michigan's website and get like an estimated value of the uncapped taxes before I purchase the property. Okay. Is there something like that? There is.
Yeah, you can do the same thing for multifamily. Yeah. Here's a little pro tip. We make the phone call to the township.
Okay.
Hey, you know this property? And they're like, yeah. And what's nice about that phone call, that 10-minute phone call, if we were to buy it for $3 million, what would our taxes be? Oh, it'd be, the millage is this $3 million. You'd be paying $14,000 a year. So what's nice about it is, some townships, the rural townships, they don't keep up with the value of the property. They don't increase it every year, right? So you could get hit with a big number. And we've had a few of them say, yeah, that one's going to be a little bit. And then a few of them say, no, that one's not going to be much because, we kept up on the increase in property value. So yeah, you're going to be good. So it'll be nominal. You're paying 10, you're going to pay 11. I'm like, okay, cool. But make that phone call to the township, the assessor's department, and they'll give you the information you need.
So on multifamily, do they cap the taxes just like they do on single family, where it only can go up so much per year?
No. It only goes up the value of the property. So that's the downside of that particular rule is applicable for homeowners. I don't think that works real well if you own the property as an investment.
It still works as an investment. You're just paying investment prices. They still can only go up 5% per year, even if it's an investment property. So,
calling the township. I to be honest with you, our flipping business, I don't do a lot of the business. I don't do a lot of the work on that. We have a bunch of amazing people. We got Olivia, she knocks it out of the park, and we got David Gardner that gets the property. So I really don't see that part of the business as much. But the multifamily is where I've been concentrating on.
That's awesome. So another thing is, so how are you finding these apartment deals? How are you coming across them? How are you, apartment deals are pretty hard to find. And are you buying them in really bad shape? Like, have you done a complete gut, on an apartment? I mean, I know you said you've done a couple, but are you making that a regular thing? Like, just curious.
Well, great question. We don't. So what I'm looking for is either there's three kinds of terminologies we use for multifamily. There's turnkey. But is the property a turnkey? Is it built within the last 5 years? CapEx is any improvements we have to do to it, and no improvements. It's running great. The numbers work. We just plug and play. Buy it. Let the tenants pay down the mortgage. Right. Then there's value add. That's where a flip is needed. So those are called value adds. So you come into the property, it's built in the 80s and never touched. You got to put new cabinets in, you got to put new countertops, you got to put new sinks in, you got to put new faucets, new bath, just total gut job. And we put anywhere from 10 to 15,000 per unit in it for something like that. Then there's a heavy lift. A heavy lift is heavy. That's where you might have to rebuild some things, pull permits, get all new heating and cooling units and all of that particular, just everything. Now you can put up to 25, 30, depending on the size of the unit and where it sits, you can put 25 into that unit. So then you get them for a cheaper price. Like we got a property in Redford we're fixing up. We're doing all the units, 17 units. And I think we bought the property for $13,000 a door, and it was unbelievably trashed. And we're putting probably 10 into each one for a total of 25 per unit.
It's still a steal.
It is cheap, but it's such an amount of work. Like, if you ever done a rehab, digging into something, this is why I don't like the heavy lifts. You dig into something and then you have to keep digging. Like the floor was, buckled. Well, let's put a piling in there and lift it up. You go in there and look, and the sewage waste pipe broke, and it's draining into there and making a puddle and draining down in there. So now you got to fix the pipe, and you got to fix the sewage inside. Then you got to put the stanchion post in, and then you got to fix up the floor. So there's always the non-fun ones you want to play with, and that's a heavy lift. But what I'm doing now, if you don't mind me talking about that part, sure. I'm combining my my love of building with multifamily. We're looking at a 189 unit in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we're thinking about building an apartment complex.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, where is it you live? Is it up here?
Florida right now. I just moved from Clarkston a year and a half ago.
Okay. So I live in Clarkston. That's where I'm currently residing. So.
Are you right?
Yeah. So right off Dixie Highway. So.
Nice. I'm about Fastball Navy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So you moved down to Florida. What part of Florida?
Port Richey. It's about a half hour, about 45 minutes north of Tampa.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to get involved. I want to get involved in the multifamily here, but the prices are just insane. They're like people are going crazy on the prices, and now the insurance is killing everybody. So I'm just waiting. I'm just gonna.
So how are you doing the renovations while you're in Florida? So are you just running a team and just in constant communication? Do you come up every now and then? What is it you do?
Great question. So I would never recommending flipping anything that you're not there on site.
Okay.
But because of my 35 years of building in Michigan, I have all kinds of great crews, and we have a standardized pricing sheet. We hand to our contractor, and we say, well, we want flooring, cabinets, and paint shop in this one. Okay. And then they put out the square footage, and then they fill out the list, and then they take pictures afterwards, and they send it to me. And then once in a while, I come out and see everybody, and then I just go check out the units. And then we have this neat little system called Company Cam. This is a great one. There's another gold bomb I want to give you. Company Cam, and what it does is, Company Cam. My guys can take pictures and videos, and then I can see it right after they get done putting in Company Cam. You open up the app, you take all the pictures, take the video, and they call me up. And this happened today. We're looking at a property in Holly, and he goes, "What do you want me to do with the upstairs or the rafters?" Mm-hmm. They had some raccoons living in there for years, so there's just poop all through the insulation and rafters. I'm like, clean it out, spray it, and put new insulation in there. Like, okay, they're asking you on the phone what to do, but if you haven't been in building for 30 years, don't do that. Yeah, because a contract, and these are contractors that have been working with me for 15, 20 years. These are all my friends. I gave them the keys to my house when I wasn't there. You know, hey, go fix this up, and you want to stay there, stay there. These are people that I really trust and enjoy. But I wouldn't do a flip in another state with maybe a house or something like that I could drive out there every month. But I would never do an apartment complex. You have to go to the apartment complex, live around the area for a couple months, set the guys up, and then I can go back home and then come back every month or so. But in our group 7-figure flipping, we're remote flipping. Let me know how that works out for you. And they go, no, we're not remote. A year later, they're like, no, we're not remote flipping no more. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right. By the way, I had about in episode 24, we actually had Bill Allen, who's the CEO of 7-figure flipping.
Yeah, I know Bill well.
Yeah. So we had him on the episode, on the show, and brought him on and watching. So
did he mention about flipping out of state?
He has, yes.
He can do it though. Yes. I wouldn't recommend a new guy to do that. So he lives in Nashville area, and he flips in Pensacola.
Yes.
That guy can do it. He's one of very few people, but I don't recommend other people doing that starting off. That's a horrible idea.
Because he can just hop in his plane and get over there. So,
there you go. There's a problem. I get to fly. Let's work this out.
Right.
There's a cute story with Bill that I'd like to share if you don't mind. So, he was the leader of the group, and I talked to him once in a while. And then one time I said to him, this is a really cool story about manifesting. If you want something, tell everybody you want it. I want this. I want this. I want this. I'm talking about building a new 200-unit apartment complex.
Yep.
I guarantee you within the next 2 years, I'll be building a new apartment complex. So I told Bill one time, I said, I want to fly a fighter jet. And he goes, and he's a pilot. And he goes, I've never flown a fighter jet. I go, really? He goes, yeah, I was a helicopter pilot, an airplane pilot. And I go, that's cool. I go, I want to fly one. He goes, there's ways of doing it. You gotta just look around. On a crazy note, we were coming out to Tampa a few years ago during Corona, like the day we got back from Corona, that we got back from Tampa, went out to eat. That was the last restaurant that was open for the year and a half that we had to go through it.
Wow.
It was Bonefish. I'll never forget this. But I'm in Tampa, and a friend of mine was coming out, and my wife's looking at her phone, and she goes, I go, what's there to do when Jason comes out here? She's looking at her phone. She goes, Busch Gardens, this, fly a fighter jet. And I grabbed the phone, pulled it out of her hand. I go, what? And I looked, and it was fly a fighter jet. And I called the guy up, and I said, hey, I want to fly a fighter jet. And he goes, what's your flight experience? I said, I fly RC airplanes. Can you fly RC airplanes? He goes, nope. That's a lot harder than flying a fighter jet. I go, all right. And long story short, it was his anniversary, and I went to the wrong place. I went to Tampa. It was supposed to be Clearwater Airport. Long story short, I got on there. I got to fly a L-39 Albatross Fighter Jet for the first time. And if you've ever been upside down in a jet, it's a super cool thing.
Never been, but I've always wanted to be. So
it's a riot.
I've always wanted to go on those ride-alongs, and I have wanted to learn how to fly myself. So it's, it will happen one day. I will say that. Okay,
take a shot at it. It's a riot. You can go to the Oakland Airport and take a trainer flight, and they'll show you how to fly. It's not. I know how this sounds. Not that hard.
Yeah,
it's really not that hard.
So, but so we'll get back to the real estate stuff. And the biggest thing, so I guess I asked the question, but we really haven't answered because we got off track a little bit. How are you finding the multifamily deals?
Great question. So you do some wholesaling?
Yes.
Do you do mailers?
I do not do mailers. I mainly cold call.
Okay, cold call. So we do mailers and cold call for our single family. We do mailers and cold call for our multifamily. We do any advertisement we do for single family just taught us how to advertise for multifamily. And what I usually do is I'm looking for, and there's online, there's LoopNet, there's Zillow, you know, and what I look for is the diamonds in the rough, the ones that don't know what they have.
Yeah.
First off, I look for the 1% rule. If it's close to the 1% rule, I've seen, I'm not joking. I can't make this stuff up. From single family to multifamily, I thought I'm stepping up to a more professional industry.
Yep.
Get more money, and these guys have been doing it longer, and these guys know what they're doing, right? This one kid comes up to me and goes, "Hey man, there's a 26 unit in Galesburg, Michigan. Well, that's too far away. I don't want to drive out there to flip it." Me and my partners are driving by, and we're going to look at something in Ohio. And I go, "Hey, Galesburg." I call that guy. I call the guy up. We pulled off the road. We saw the apartments, and there was old army barracks from like 50s. That water was flooding in the basement. And I'm like, I told my partners, I'm the rehab guy. I'm like, nope, I don't want this. And my son's my other partner. He goes, "Let's try and wholesale it." I'm like, all right, sounds good. So I think we got into contract for $625, and we sold it for $850 or something like that. Made $175,000 and didn't even touch the property. But here's the kicker. This is why I told you that story, to tell you the best part about this story. They told us it's a 26 unit. It's advertised online for a 26 unit, right?
Yep.
We go in and I'm talking to the property manager. I go, "All right, you got 5, 5, 5, 5. You got 20 units." I go, "Is there 6 in that building right there? Those are 1 bedrooms?" She goes, "No, there's 8. That was my look. That was exactly my look. Randy, I'm dead serious. I just looked at her. I go, how many did you say? She was 28. I'm like, oh, okay. And so the guy we're wholesaling it to, we had another inspection with him. We walked it with him. And he goes, "Yeah, 5." He goes, "Is there 6 in that unit?" I go, "No, actually there's 8. I go, but if you don't want them, we'll take them." And he looked at me. He didn't know what to say. And so we flipped that one, and we wholesaled that one. We bought it. We double closed on it. Probably shouldn't have, but we did. And we made $175, and we gave the guys that were working with, the guy that found us the deal, $25,000.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm currently working with some new wholesalers at the moment, and showing them how to cold call, how to do things properly, things like that. So I'm actually a systems guy myself. So my day job is in the automotive industry, and so I like to develop systems. So I'm kind of showing them how you set up in the beginning, where it will set you up in the end, where it'll be easier for you to just plug and play your systems.
That's how we flip 20 to 30 houses a year in Michigan.
Yep.
So just you have a system in place. You have the people that lend us the money. We have the people that find us the deals, and then we have the contractors to do it. And we just take it from one stage to another.
Most definitely. So with that being said, and we're coming close to the end, I want to be respectful of your time as well, because we could sit here and talk about real estate all day long. And we might bring you back on, and I might fly down to Florida just to interview you in person, so
I happen to have a boat on the Gulf of Mexico. If you want to do it on a boat, I would suggest 12 months of Michigan.
I think we could do that. So
okay,
100%. But what's your plans for the future? You said that you are building brand new multifamilies, and where is that going to be? And how
maybe we should ask why.
Why are you doing brand new builds? Where is it going to be? And how can the people here help you in any of your future endeavors?
Well, I want to add value to. God's been so good to me that I just want to help other people and teach. Helping me, there's people that. So in this syndication on a multifamily, the only thing I need nowadays is people to invest in the properties. So if people want to make passive income, great passive income, and get, if you're a real estate investor, you can get depreciation off the property too. And if you have a $30 million deal, there's a lot of depreciation on a $30 million deal.
Yes.
Depending on how much money you bring to the table, you might never have to pay taxes again. I have a friend of mine that is $40 million in the rears on taxes, so he can make the next $40 million he's going to make. He's not going to be able to pay tax on that.
Okay.
So if people want to invest, I started a fund, ARK Investments Ventures, and we're going to be building multifamily through the United States. Why do I want to pick North Carolina? We have that property in North Carolina. It's a 16 unit we got for a great deal. Our taxes are $6,000.
Wow.
Our operating expenses are batting around 38%.
I'm actually surprised that your taxes in North Carolina are only $6,000, to be honest. So that's crazy, because I actually used to lived in Raleigh for a little bit, and I have family that lives in Charlotte. I lived in Charlotte a little bit as well.
You picked the two highest. You paid the two highest taxes in that state.
Yeah, so that's why I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, you picked the two highest place. The highest is Charlotte. The next is Raleigh, and Raleigh's catching up too. Where you place something is maybe more important than what you put in there.
Okay.
So we're batting at 38%. What we own, or 38% of what we make, we pay out to the property. So that's their expenses. In Michigan, that 11 unit, we're paying $12,000 a year in taxes, and the insurance and water and gas is we have gas in Michigan that we have to pay for the property because it's a boiler system. In North Carolina, there's just an electric bill that the tenants pay.
Yeah.
So all the way around, it's just cheaper to have a southern state. Well, depending on the state, I can't say that. Yeah. Depending on where you put the property. But
my brother actually says, start coming to Tampa. I'll work with you.
Is he in Tampa?
He lives in Sun City, which is just outside of Tampa. So
nice. What did he do?
Yeah. So so right now he just works at a job just to make some income. That's it. He works at Texas Roadhouse, but he's looking for a different avenue at the moment. So
hopefully it's real estate. Have him get in touch with me.
Yeah, I most definitely. So, and then he said he was in construction. So, and then he used to do demos. Honestly, it's like he used to do a lot of clean outs, things like that. And my sister said, "I'm in. Invite your sister." As far as going on the boat, that's when she was talking about that.
Tell her to stop on by, man. It's gonna be horrible. The weather's always hot. I jumped here. You're gonna love this, being from Michigan.
Yeah.
A friend of mine came in and I let him use my house because I came to Michigan for like July and August. And then I had to fly back in. We were doing a flip and I had to check on a guy, and I hung out with my friend. I took him on my boat and I jumped into the water and I jumped out going, ah. And he goes, what? I go, the water's too hot.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's some problems out here too. So water's too warm.
Water's too warm?
Yeah, in August. So don't come out in August.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of hot then. So
yeah. So
yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. I want to do more markets. Right now I'm just in Metro Detroit. And that's Detroit proper. That is all 3 counties that we have. I'm starting to dabble in a little bit of Genesee County, and also some Washtenaw County as well. So, so I deal with all those markets, but I also want to start getting into some other markets virtually as well. So,
well, if you want to get into North Carolina, you know somebody that wants to be in that area. North Carolina, Tennessee.
I actually do, because I want to get in like the Charlotte area, because I have family that still live there. So,
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So here's my brother here. He's a glazer. He used to be a glazer when he was up here in Michigan. So
Nice.
Windows. He did commercial work for Windows. So
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. But so, how is it? I'd love to actually, get your opinion on some Detroit multifamily. Okay. That I get a lot of Detroit multifamily that need full rehabs, full guts. Okay.
Okay.
And I'd be interested to see where you or maybe some of your buyers would be at on a property like that.
That's a great idea. So, when we start to do a flip, we start with the ARV.
Yep.
Minus our profit. So we go 70%, and then 70% of ARV minus rehab, and that's what we do. So I would suggest you get people that buy in Detroit, find out what they're looking for and how much they want to pay for it.
Yep.
And then how much they cost to rehab a unit.
Yeah, a lot of people for multifamily, what I've heard from some buyers is usually $45K a door, that's all expenses included. All expenses as well as, renovations, everything.
So ARV is 45 a door.
Yep.
Okay. That's a good number to start from.
And that's a rough estimate, because different areas could be a little bit different. So, but, the more war zone areas, they may not even want that, or it has to be a lot less,
That's why I'm trying to coach you into finding people that, where do they buy? What do they want? So I have a friend of mine, Johnny. I call him Johnny Versace, and if he hears this, I'm actually going to send it to him now. Johnny Versace. His name's not Johnny Versace, but I've been calling that for 30 years. So he always goes that damn Mannino. He buys apartment complex. I think he has 300 in Detroit.
Okay.
So just my coaching to you is take him out to lunch.
Yeah.
Go see his property and say, what are you looking for and how can I help?
I would love an introduction. That'd be great. And then I would love to, I'd love to continue these conversations with you. Also, another thing I'd love to do is actually invite you on with my coaching group. And then we can kind of go over some things with my coaching group. So we can set that up off camera as well. But, I'd be interested in that if you're interested. And kind of
I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form. If I can add value to you or your team, please let me know how.
That's awesome. So with that, I really do appreciate everyone coming out. I want to be respectful of your time. We did go over about 4 minutes for this, and I'd love to, we're going to speak without, we're going to have another interview with you, possibly in person, maybe on the boat, in Tampa. So
and you're not going to twist my arm on that one.
So we'll get that one. We'll need to make some. We'll need to get a camera guy out there and do all of that. So maybe I'll tag along some of my family to do that. But I love to see you all out there, and I look forward to speaking more and going from there. From what I hear, the Michigan-Washington game right now, Michigan is up. Go Blue. So,
nice.
Yes.
Oh, I want everybody to thank me. Okay? I want everybody in Michigan to thank me because I finally learned after 57 years on how to get the Lions to win. I had to leave.
For you to move away?
That's the only way they've won in the last 57 years. And I
I
hope
know,
they win the
right?
Super Bowl. I'm rooting for them from Tampa. I swear.
Oh, I am too. I don't do fantasy football. That's my brother. He does that. I don't do any of that. But the only thing that I do is just keep up on the Lions. So yeah, my brother, he moved away as well. So he did the same thing.
How long ago did he move? Maybe me and him moving, made the Lions win.
Exactly. So, but I look forward to our next conversation. I look forward to helping everyone else out here. If you do want a JV on any deals, and if you do have any deals, my number is right here at the bottom. Contact me, email me. We'll go from there. Let's all do deals together. Mike, just hold on for a minute. We'll have you stick around until we go. All right.
Thanks very much, and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Have a great day. Let's all do deals together.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room.